Alrighty, we are hopefully recording. We are going to review Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. What's the whole title, Mike?
Honor Among Thieves?
Honor Among Thieves. Dungeons
Yes.
and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. On a 1 to 10 scale, what do you give it?
Okay. 1 to 10. Just right off the bat, I'm gonna give it 6.5. Can we
Six
do
and a
half
half?
points? Can we do half points?
You can do half points.
Let me round it. I'll give it a
I'm gonna give it a 6, flat 6.
all right, 6.5 for me.
6.5 for you, flat 6 for me. Chris Pine was the whole reason why I saw this movie.
I like Chris Pine.
I like Chris Pine. He was great in all the Star Treks.
Mm.
Michelle Rodriguez, she was. Nah, I feel like they could have casted a little better with that.
Who would you have chosen?
I don't know, but I get it. She's like the strong, she's kind of beefcakey. You know what I mean? She's always been, fit, and just of course they put her in a room with 10 dudes, and she just annihilates all 10 of them. No struggle, and I'm just like, come on.
You weren't able to believe that.
I mean, they like threw her into some like chairs and the wall once. I was like, okay. When it's just when there's an even like, okay, she's in peril here. This could go wrong. But when they're taking out guys too easily, it's just like, all right, come on.
Would you have cast, say, like an unknown who's like
Yeah,
6 foot tall
give
and
someone
250 pounds,
Yeah,
or
give someone a shot, or give us like an old UFC fighter. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
MMA or
someone
something?
like, okay, or I think Ronda Rousey would have been a perfect.
Michelle Rodriguez was pretty beefy in that.
She
though.
was.
She's
But
about the same size. Maybe she's probably bigger than Ronda Rousey.
I mean, I just feel like the chemistry between those two characters,
Chris
Pine
Pine.
and I was just not feeling it.
Well, this is the full on. So we can talk about spoilers.
Sure, just let it rip. I think
Let
the movie came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's out now.
Okay,
Everyone
yeah.
knows.
But
So they're not romantic though, but
They're not.
chemistry as friends. You mean?
Just them two as just being on set. I don't see it. Like I didn't see it. I didn't like it.
I thought they had some chemistry. It wasn't perfect, but
Perfect.
But I could see, like, if I was a casting director and
Now-
sat them in a room together, or however they do it, I would say, okay, you guys kind of are, you're kind of syncing up a little bit.
Basically, though, we got to let the audience know, for whoever is watching. I know absolutely nothing about Dungeons and Dragons.
And that's me too.
I don't know. I never played the games. I know there's some dice. There's a guy who like
Dungeon Master,
yeah,
DM.
and they like create the rolls and whatever, and then you go by the dice rolls in your character. Other than that, never played it. Don't know it. Don't know anything about it.
I'm in the same boat.
So basically, I was just coming into this movie blind, knowing it was going to be some sword fighting adventure movie. The CGI in this movie was garbage.
Garbage, huh?
Garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, that scene with the chubby dragon, trash.
It was not at all visually convincing.
It was not. The magic though, like the fighting at the end of like the very with the red wizard.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I thought that was good.
Cool. The stone dragon came alive. The two hands fighting, that was neat. But all in all, the weakest character, the motivation of bringing back the dead wife, and then they just have to whole movie go after that, and then they just use it. Oh, Michelle Rodriguez dies. Everybody's sad.
But you get the point of the
I
writers
know.
or whoever did it, because in other words, it's either because she was an infant when the mother died, so she really didn't even know the mother.
Yeah, I get that. No connection, but still, that's your mom. Save your mom.
Yeah,
But
Michelle. The point being, Michelle Rodriguez was more of a mother to her.
I know. Well, they beat that over the head with the flashbacks,
and they also kind of and remember they threw in that piece where, gosh, I'd have to look up his name, but the annoying sorcerer fighter guy. No, he was just a fighter guy.
Who was the old rich white guy?
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant. I liked him. He was a good protagonist. For
not a protagonist.
Sorry. He wasn't the main villain.
No, he wasn't.
He was with their clique. He was tasked.
Antagonist. That's the word.
Antagonist.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but not the main one.
Yeah. So he was tasked with raise my daughter while I'm in prison because a couple people got caught during a heist, And then they broke out, and they were getting the crew back together, and they went back. He's super rich because he was a con man, and he's basically just like, yeah, I've been raising your daughter. They were only in jail for 2 years. So it's like, oh, yeah, well, I've had your daughter for 2 years. She's basically my daughter now. And it's like,
2 years.
I don't think you would connect that well with
In
some
2 years, with some old guy, yeah.
Godfather-like role. Like, oh, yeah, it's been 2 years. And it'd been like, yeah. And then the daughter was like, hey, Dad, what's going on? Welcome out. It's like, I would have been like, I just didn't get sold on the fact that the little daughter wasn't happy to see her dad. It was only 2 years. She was still like pouty and mad. I get it. I get it. His character, played with the real truth and kind of manipulated her. But at the same time, I'd have been like, that's your dad. You totally would have been like, welcome home, no movie.
Welcome home.
The whole movie would have. The movie was to get the stone to get the mother back alive. But basically, 1/3 of the other conflict was Hugh Grant, manipulating them. And then we got to go get the daughter. And while we're getting the daughter, let's get the stone too.
Right. And
so
are you saying that you would have preferred they let Michelle Rodriguez, and she said, like, let me go.
Let her die.
And then get the mother.
Get the mother back, let Michelle Rodriguez go, and then I would have been like, okay, well, Chris Pine got the family, the daughter got saved from at least the whole family unit's back, and then...
Even though the daughter is like, who are you? He would have been like that. You're my mom, okay, it's our first meeting.
Yeah, I saved your life. I died to save you. You ungrateful daughter.
But did she die to save? Yeah, she did, because she put her in the drawer. She put her in the drawer, yeah.
Yeah, they hid the baby in the wall, and that's how she didn't get murdered by the Red Wizards.
Right.
There
was that interesting throwaway line. It wasn't a throwaway, but it was kind of a way. Gosh, do I have to look up his name? The guy with the armor who was annoying, who didn't get sarcasm.
Yeah, I didn't like him, but
yeah, I'm not going to take the time to look up this character's name or the actor. He was good. He was fine.
Sorry for the actor.
Sorry for that. We'll put it in post. Whatever. Anyway, he said a line where he was like, there's multiple lives. The next life she's in, you would be pulling her out of that. So it was kind of a way of taking the sting out. Like, well, look, she might be happy in the afterlife or the other life she's in.
Fair. But all in all, not knowing crap about Dungeons and Dragons, I liked it. It was entertaining.
Yes.
It felt a little long, though. Could have been 15 minutes shorter, 15 to 25 minutes shorter. It was over 2 hours.
You're not going to lie. It felt like it went pretty good to me. It didn't feel long. Like
I feel like the chubby dragon scene, that
could have been cut short, perhaps.
Where they did the fire trick with the finger and exploded the water cave, the escape. All that could have been cut. The CGI was trash. They could have saved money on that and just did another.
Save a lot of money.
They could have hired some more stuntmen and done a better sword fighting segment. And if you ask me, and another thing, they made Chris Pine out to be like the dopey planner who can't make a good plan, and then all of his plans fail, and he kind of wings it, and he gets lucky. And I was just like, why can't we just make one plan work?
Well,
like at the end, you know what I mean? Like they gave him like the Captain Jack Sparrow, like drunken sailor. Is it all luck? Is he like a mastermind or is it luck?
He's like a rapscallion kind of ruffian. Not a ruffian. That's the wrong word. I know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's it's played out. That type of character that's like...
We've seen it before.
They're the main character, but they also don't know what they're doing. But for some reason, they're the main character.
Or also he doesn't have any powers or any fighting ability.
Yeah. And the whole, like, what was it, a violin that he had? What was it, a violin?
Mandolin,
He had
I guess?
Some weird old school... He just had it with him all the time, everywhere he went. I'd have been like, just take that off and bring a sword. Pick up something. He just
he didn't even have a sword, did he?
And he used that as like a weapon a few times. Like he hit the wizard with it. I was just like, come on, cheese.
And he was part of some guild or some.
That's like the whole video game faction, whichever one you choose.
Yeah, but like a thief, you think he would at least have a dagger or something, right?
Yeah. If he was supposed to be a good thief, he would have been something smoke.
But they were all like, "Oh, we don't hurt people," which is
he was like a Robin Hood type guy.
Sure,
but We're at almost at 10 minutes. I know we get carried away. Yeah, time flies.
Gosh.
Dungeons and Dragons. Would you see it again in theaters?
I'm afraid that's a no. I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Would you watch it again on television, or if it was on Netflix?
I don't even think so.
You wouldn't even click on it. just a one and done.
No, I'm afraid that's a one and done.
But you were entertained.
I was entertained.
1 to 10, you were a 6 out of 10 entertained.
6.5.
6.5. You're
Like
good,
good, decent quality, good actors.
Yeah.
Yes, it wasn't. It's not a classic. It's not.
Yeah.
You're not gonna really remember it when you leave. There's
was,
nothing that's gonna stick with you in a good way.
It was the best Dungeons and Dragons they've made to date.
Have they made other Dungeons and Dragons movies?
It's the best Dungeons and Dragons they made to date. 6 out of 10. I say go see it once if you don't want to see anything else. But personally, I wanted to see Air, the movie Air about Michael Jordan.
We'll see it.
And Mario came out. I would have much rather have picked amongst
Mario
Mario
and Air is getting a lot of good reviews.
But it has it now. Okay, we got the
Air has
nice,
Air's
nice.
good. I see a lot of good reviews for it.
You know, because the cast. But
well, yeah, of course.
That being said, Dungeons and Dragons 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
CGI was crap. The chemistry amongst the actors was, and just the whole main character dies, but then we bring you back right away. Cliche, played out.
Well, I mean, look, what are you gonna do?
And
of course, it's a common theme.
There's no way there's going to be a sequel.
I don't think so. Unless this thing, I doubt it's gonna make a lot of money. I don't know. I doubt it.
But it did look like it cost a lot to make.
Sure,
like
I can see that.
The budget was pretty high.
I'm sure it's like at least $100 million or something.
My favorite character was the wizard guy. Again, we tried to get the actors' names.
I can look him up real quick.
We tried to get the actors'
Let's give him
names.
a shout out. His name is Justice Smith.
Justice Smith, cool name.
Very good, very good.
Justice Smith was the standout, even though he wasn't. He's not like as known as Chris Pine or Michelle Rodriguez, but
he's been in some movies. He was actually in the Pokemon movie.
Yeah, I know that.
Detective
he'll
Pikachu.
Probably get some. He'll probably get some more roles because of once they get a couple good movies, they get a lot more movies.
You're shouting out to him. I will give it. Michelle Rodriguez, I thought was pretty good in this.
You liked her in this?
I think she was much less annoying than her characters. I guess the Fast and Furious character I think is really lame and is like I'm just really tough and of course family blah blah blah. But she seemed a little more interesting in this. Her character was more interesting, and so and I think she did well in the role.
They had there were some moments where I laughed in the movie, which
there
was
were some laughs.
It was enjoyable.
There were some laughs. There were some thrills.
There was no preachiness. There was no moral high ground lesson of like moral of the story is.
It was very tongue in cheek. There was a lot of
adventure movie. They did a lot of cuts though. They were like, boom, we're here. Bam, we're there. Boom, we're on horsebacks. You know what I mean? There was a lot of traveling though.
Which is you want to see great cinematic.
That's what they were doing, like the helicopter shots of like waterfalls and the volcano and such.
Yeah, that
was cool. But I was like, could have shaved it. I'd rather just see them walking or on like all 4 of them on horseback. But my standout scene was the heist with the portals.
That was
an interesting concept.
That was an interesting concept. That took some thought. That was original and different.
That was my favorite scene of the whole movie. And other than that, the ending was weak.
Weak
ending.
You mean like how they dispatched with the Red Wizard?
Yeah, they
did it seem like it should have been longer?
They were basically copying Marvel with the Hulk and the scene where he fights Loki and he's just using Loki.
Oh, you think it was? I didn't even think that. Yeah.
They just took because the
ragdoll.
The character was like this big brute bear meets an owl mixture, and it was just they just beat the living.
There were some shades of that.
It was a little bit of Hulk, but they overdid it on purpose, and it was funny.
Yeah, sure. I get that. Yeah, and also, I
didn't really care about the Red Wizards. It's like
it didn't really. Yeah, it's a forgettable movie.
They only infect the part of the city. Like the magic has a distance limit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Their red spell had a distance limit.
Yeah.
But 6 out of 10.
6.5.
I say wait for it to come out on Netflix or whatever it comes out on. I don't.
Do you think if someone's a huge, they say, and again, we can't really judge.
Dragons fan?
Like if someone's a hardcore Dungeons and Dragons, and I talked to someone who is going to see it because they're a Dungeons and Dragons player.
I'm sure there were a ton of Easter eggs or like
the jelly square, the gelatinous cube or whatever they call it. Cool. Yeah, that was. Because I've heard that's a Dungeons and Dragons thing.
The maze part where they opened up a chest and it was a trap, that gave me Elden Ring vibes because
Well, look, Dungeons and Dragons
apparently,
chest,
yeah.
raiding chest, yeah.
But there's a chest in Elden Ring where if you do it, it's a trap.
I 100% bet that that Dungeons and Dragons did that first.
Because
Dungeons and Dragons has been around since what, the 70s or the 80s or something like that.
And this movie, I thought this movie they were going to try to sell like, hey guys, you should maybe play Dungeons and Dragons.
Brought to you by whatever.
Brought
Mattel
to you.
or,
They didn't even shout out to the card game.
Well, the whole movie is a shout out in a
I
way.
guess,
Like Dungeons and Dragons.
It wasn't like a single dude rolling some dice.
Right. Well, I wonder if this is going to increase people's interest in the game. Probably some
not.
people. Overall, not going to make a huge difference. But it's one thing that, and I told this to my wife because she came and saw it with us too. I really wish, like, there's a lot of Hollywood actors who are into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
one of them is Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Wow. If they they should have had a cameo with him.
They could. Well,
they have a cameo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 15 minutes.
Oh, we gotta cut it short.
We gotta make this quick.
Let's just make this quick. Yeah.
Bradley Cooper did a cameo, and
it was a throwaway.
It was weak.
It was a throwaway. Yeah,
and
it was worthless.
They made him like a smaller Hobbit type person. And he was like a super sensitive husband that
which is kind of a funny angle because it's like she's a big tough lady and she's like an Amazon and he's
it was a funny concept, but he was really only in it for 5 minutes tops.
Not even that.
Not even 5 minutes, and it was just like I wonder how much he cashed in for that.
Who knows? But I tell you what, they should have made the little guy be Vin Diesel. That would have been funny because it's like Mr. Big Tough Guy is a little Hobbit guy,
and then it would have been the whole Fast and the Furious,
and then it would have been a callback to Fast and Furious.
That probably would have been like, oh yeah, and also they're going to be in Fast and Furious 10.
Yeah, it would have been a great what do they call that, promotional thing?
And like a fourth wall breaking.
So they really should. I wonder if anyone thought of that. Someone must have thought of that.
Big time. Now that I'm thinking of that idea, I would have laughed. That would have been my favorite.
That would have been a great moment.
Of the whole movie,
like having him be all tough and he's like a little sensitive guy.
Yeah. And they don't make it. They break up too because in Fast and Furious they're like totally together no matter what. But in this one,
they break up.
Yeah,
it would have been perfect. It would have been a really great addition.
Been the funniest cameo ever.
Yeah. So they missed opportunity. I don't know if anyone. I can't believe no one thought of that. Yeah.
That's a funny way to end it.
That's a funny way to end it. Yeah.
Go see it. It's worth seeing once,
and
that's it. And go see it during the day so you don't got to pay the higher prices.
Matinee. It's a matinee first timer.
Go see a matinee.
Go see a matinee.
And that's it. That's really all I got. Dungeons and Dragons, 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's end it.
Okay.